All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for being here in what these days feels like in person in a Zoom room, and welcome to those of you who are practicing with us on the YouTube channel. We hope that you feel included. We're extending our awareness to you as well. Yeah, so this afternoon I was working on a Dharma talk on something called the Honeyball Sutta, which is one I hope to get back to maybe next week. We'll see how life unfolds, but it's a sweet teaching, Honeyball, and a relevant teaching about what's called papancha, mind states that proliferate, which I think we can all relate to these days and all days. Speaking of these days, usually now I spell days, D-A-Z-E. These days, it's become a thing. You might want to try it. So I was working on this, writing this talk, and then we live here on a river, backing onto a river, and there's kind of uh, land on the other side of the river uh, with like two houses, but they have lots of land. And anyways, there was a lot of shooting today. Like it sounded like it was right in the backyard, like shotguns, so loud. And I don't know, I was Googling it. I couldn't find that there's any hunting season on now, but whatever. It's an occurrence around here and around the world. And anyway, so we have three small dogs that live in this house. And two of them are quite old, and one of them has a heart condition. And they just get so terrified. It's just heartbreaking. They just like can't breathe. They're shaking so hard and eyes bugging out and trying to find furniture to hide underneath. Uh, and then it would stop for a while and they would kind of eventually settle and then it would start again. And uh, it was, yeah. And I had to just put down any distractions and any other doings that were going on and just hold this the thankfully, well, that's like a, what's that called, a mixed blessing. um One of the old guys is losing his hearing, so he wasn't so troubled. That's a little perk of being a deaf dog. um but the one was really suffering. And so I had to like hold him with both my arms and hands. I couldn't be doing anything else because he needed a really tight, like a full body, firm hold. And then he would settle down, as I'm sure some of you have experienced, and with dogs of all sizes. And yeah, so I just had to spend the hours really reflecting on compassion and on how are we being held and in what ways are we offering space and holding for each other in these times of great suffering? In what ways are we showing up for ourselves and each other and all beings? And there's these two, this is of course the Karuna Bhavana meditation, the cultivation of loving kindness meditation, which is one of the heart abode practices. But there's also this sense of a important aspect of the Dharma called Samvega, which means spiritual urgency. And we're definitely always, but we're in a time of great urgency to respond to the suffering of the world. And at times we just have to drop what we're doing, put down distractions, and just fully show up for each other and often for ourselves. And this practice, this way of this sense of urgency to respond and compassion, which is sometimes been referred to. Trying to find what if it's in a sutta or where it is. I think it is in the sutta. Yes, it is, but I couldn't find it in time. Where the Buddha refers to compassion as the quivering of the heart, which is so lovely. It's this quivering of the heart in response to the suffering of others. And karuna or compassion is considered an action. It's a response to suffering, and it shows up in our speech and our actions, in our thoughts, our intentions, our presence, our meditation. And together with this sense of urgency, it can help us resist this trap of overwhelm or futility or numbness that we may already be feeling, or we 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 may be soon as things continue in the direction they are moving. And it's easy to feel really overwhelmed and helpless, and a sense of futility. Uh, Here in Ontario, tomorrow is voting day, so that's a little plug. Please use your voice. Please vote. Please vote. Um, yes. So Nyanaponika Thera said this about compassion. It is compassion that removes the heavy bar and opens the door to freedom. It makes the narrow heart as wide as the world. Oh, that's so good. Removes the heavy bar and opens the door to freedom and makes the narrow heart as wide as the world. You know, we can feel how we contract around in fear and doubt, and self-protection. And yes, I won't go on. I was going to say nationalism, so there, I just said it. So this is another way of contracting. And Nyanaponika goes on to say, compassion takes away from the heart the inert weight, the paralyzing heaviness, and it gives wings to those of us who cling to the lowlands of the self. Those some strong words. But this, how we can get lost in clinging to our sense of individual self and isolation and self-protection. And this practice opens the doors of the heart and gives wings and opens us to interconnectedness. With all of these Brahmavihara practices, the four of them, so the first is loving kindness or metta meditation. The second, they're not so much in an order, but they are often referred to this way. The second one is karuna or compassion, which we're talking about tonight. The third heart abode meditation is resonant joy. This is the harmonic resonance we feel with the joy that others are experiencing. This morning in another class, we did a little check-in, and it was Yeah, what's something you're looking forward to this week? And it was surprising how hard it was for people to just think of something, some little sweetness. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but there was a lot of hesitation because we're in such a time of grief, and it was hard for people to even recognize, oh, what is something I'm looking forward to this week? But once we shared these little things, uh, mine was just being on the couch holding a dog, so I manifested that one well. But don't get me started on manifesting. But anyways, I don't mean that I manifested it. I just mean that happened. So the other ones were just sweet. One was like looking forward to feeling the relief of having something accomplished or done and just feeling that little bit of space. Another was, just having lunch with a friend that they hadn't seen since before the winter holidays, and lovely things. But just sharing those, we could feel that sense of resonant joy, that uplift and happiness for each other. So that's the third Brahma Vihara. And the fourth one is equanimity, which is this felt experience, this truth of presence and steadiness in the midst of the waves of life, which are called the vicissitudes, the arising and passing, the pleasure and pain, the gain and loss, the liking and not liking, etc., and equanimity, Brahmavihara. So each of these four have what are called near and far enemies. And these are helpful to pay attention to. So a far enemy is the thing that's the opposite of it. And for compassion, the far enemy, the opposite of it, is cruelty. Lots of that going around. And so it's really helpful for us to be cultivating this true aspect of care and compassion. Sharon Salzberg says here in her wonderful book, Loving Kindness, A Revolutionary Art of Happiness. This one's well loved and used. She says, compassion's far enemy, cruelty, is so clearly the opposite state that it's easy to detect. And it can be harder to distinguish when we are lost in aversion. We can feel angry and afraid and grief, and these things can really kind of numb us to being able to access compassion. The near enemy is really helpful because it can seem like compassion. It can seem like the quality we're talking about or cultivating. But it's different, and it's trickier to see. So again, Sharon Salzberg says, she refers to righteous anger, fear, and grief as being near enemies of compassion. What I was taught is that pity is a near enemy of compassion. The quality of that collapses the heart when we see suffering with others, and this feeling of like, oh, I'm so sorry, or that's so awful. And you can feel your heart collapse and your shoulders go forward and your head goes down. It's like, oh, that's so awful. It's a way of turning away and separating ourselves from it. There's a separation and a contraction that happens with pity for others. Whereas this quality of karuna has a understanding of how all beings experience dukkha, and we can touch into our own suffering and feel this resonance, like, I understand that, and I wish for you that you find some ease, and may this suffering end, may this pain pass. It's a heart connecting quality, not a separating quality. It's a response. And Sharon said something like that in here, which I think is, yeah, the first step in developing true compassion is being able to recognize, to open to, and to acknowledge that pain and sorrow exist everywhere, absolutely everywhere, in one way or another. Beings are suffering. Some suffering is intense and terrible, and some is quiet and small. While suffering is certainly not all there is in life, the third Brahma Vihara is about joy, fourth is about equanimity, and the first is love, befriending. But even though it's not all there is in life, it is a thread that needs to be recognized clearly if we are to develop true compassion. So if you're unsure, what your response is it skillful? Feel it in the body. Is there a sense of contracting and separation, a sense of overwhelm where you don't feel a capacity to respond? That might be the near enemy of compassion. If there's that feeling of connection, and even though we might not have a particular action we're able to do or even say, uh, there's still this sense of presence of interconnectedness and respondability. Hmm. And I noticed how it felt good in my body and heart to feel this dear little trembling, suffering being, the dog, uh, have some moments of calm where he could breathe and he wasn't shaking and was still, and his heart rate could settle down and all these things, and how that soothed my heart as well. Hmm. So let's do this practice together and cultivate this quality for all beings. Adjusting your space, prepare for meditation. Mm. Traditionally, this meditation begins in relationship with another um, person that the heart naturally resonates with and quivers or feels that trembling of the heart. And then we'll move through the other categories of beings, and including ourselves. So with these heart abode meditations, we always begin with taking care of our body in our posture so that we set up with some intention of awareness and care with this heart, body, mind in this moment. So see if you need any other supports, or dimming your lights, or turning away from the computer. You might like to lay down. If you fall asleep, it's okay. The words will still be resonating in your field of awareness, and then we'll just log off and you can rest at the end. So just starting with a lot of gentleness. And we just allow ourselves to settle into whatever posture you've chosen. If you need any sighing breaths or touch or movement, so that when you become still, it feels like a sigh, like a resting, like a kindness. Begin by feeling any tension or pain, contraction in your nervous system, in your muscles. So feeling the muscles of the face. Sometimes I try to feel my face as if I was having a nap, where the muscles just relax and soften, rest. And then feel the muscles of the neck and shoulders lengthening. So we feel the weight of the shoulder bones sliding down away from the earlobes. All the way down into the hands that rest, the hands that remind us what letting go feels like. And as you feel into the muscles of the torso, sometimes taking 2 or 3 slightly deeper breaths can help bring some movement in an area that might feel quite tight or restricted if we've been having a lot of stress or tension. Just reminding these bones and muscles that they have this capacity to move all across the ribs and the back and the chest. And then as the breath settles back into a natural breath, we might feel a little more ease and release in that area. Stephen Levine teaches a beautiful soft belly meditation. So this is feeling into the deep inner layers of the abdomen, closer back towards the spine. And when we're in a adrenal response, fight or flight or freeze, these muscles contract and activate the vagus nerve. So feel deep into the abdomen and see if you could just give some soft care, some soft space, some easeful attention into that area deep in the belly. As the upper body releases or relaxes a little bit more, we may now feel more weightedness, groundedness, presence through the hips and pelvis, legs and feet, or if you're practicing laying down, you might feel this through the back body. Give yourself to the relationship with the earth and allow yourself to receive that support that's there for you. And from this place of relaxing and grounding, then draw some energy up through the body. This is the energy of your sila, your values, your ethics, your uprightness, your morality, your strong back, soft front. From the center of this presence, you could now invite awareness to gather in the area of the heart center, the chitta, heart mind. Just feeling sensations in this area of the center of the chest. And then inviting into awareness someone you know, a real person or a being that is experiencing physical or mental suffering at this time. The heart naturally will bring someone or some being into awareness, someone that you know, and just let them stand in whatever has arisen for all those that you know who are experiencing suffering. Just trust what has arisen. Some awareness to whatever degree we have knowledge of their difficulties, their heartaches, their stress. Still feeling embodied in your own heart center in relationship with this being you know who's suffering, and feeling the felt essence of these phrases as you repeat them silently to yourself. May you be held in the arms of compassion. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be free of pain, mental or emotional or physical. May you be free of suffering. May you be held in the arms of compassion. May you be safe. May you be free of pain. May you be free of suffering. You could repeat these words or your own words that feel resonant. Then, with your inner awareness or feeling a sense of heart bowing in relationship with this one that's come into awareness first, and just gently closing that sense of connection. Again, feeling your own body here and now, resting awareness in the heart center. And then connecting with your own beingness, your own heart, body, mind. We all have some degree of suffering at different times. And what is stressful, fearful, painful in your body, in your mind, in your heart? What worries and stressors are here for you? Without comparing or judging or minimizing. May I be held in the arms of compassion. May I be safe from inner and outer harm. May I be free of pain. May I be free of suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be held in the arms of compassion. May I be safe. May I be free of suffering. Repeating these phrases in relationship to yourself or use your own words. Or just rest in the felt experience of this deep heart wish, intention, inclination of the heart. And then feel yourself bowing to this part of yourself that's experiencing suffering or stress. Connect again with the felt experience of the body in the present moment, feeling the sensations in the area of the heart center, particularly. Now we invite into awareness beings that are considered neutral to us. So, this is someone that you do cross paths with fairly regularly in your life, but you don't have a strong preference or aversion towards them. Mostly you don't really notice them very much. It might be someone, a clerk in a shop or a gas station, or someone passing in your neighborhood, or someone that you see that you don't notice very much, and let them stand in for all of the neutral beings that you know that are most people. And understand that these people too are experiencing stress and suffering, fear, pain, feeling the sensation at your own heart center as you settle with the image of someone that you know or have passed pretty regularly. And extend heart awareness. May you be held in the arms of compassion. May you be safe. May you be free of suffering. May you find peace. May you be held in the arms of compassion. May you be safe. May you be free of suffering. May you be peaceful. Bowing to this neutral being in your awareness, reconnecting with your felt experience in this present moment. Now we invite in what's called a difficult or unfriendly person. There's a strong tendency to the mind to go to the most difficult person in your awareness. And it's considered skillful to not do that if you can. Just choose someone where there's some confusion, some unresolved, some discontent, some confusion. This may be someone who is causing harm to others or to themselves or even to you. And we understand that they are also causing harm for themselves, both now and in the future. And we understand that they are experiencing suffering. And we cultivate the heart responding, may you be held in the arms of compassion. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be free of suffering. May you find peace. May you be held in the arms of compassion. May you be safe. May you be free of suffering. May you find peace. Continuing with your own words or these or the felt experience with the difficult or unfriendly person. And then offering this inward bow as you close that heart connection of awareness with this difficult being. Feeling your own heart center and body in the center of this awake, aware moment. And then, like a drop of dye in a pool of water that expands and flows without pushing or without efforting in all directions. And without conceiving of it or forcing anything, just open awareness to know that all beings everywhere are experiencing uncertainty, fear, stress, pain, at different degrees at different times, but everybody at some time. May all beings everywhere be held in the arms of compassion. May all beings everywhere be safe from inner and outer harm. May all beings everywhere be free of suffering. May all beings everywhere find peace. And as we hear these three sounds, feeling these as vibrations that move in all directions without discrimination, offering this Karuna compassion to all beings, following the sound till the end of the third.
That was so lovely, Jill. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad. You're welcome.
Yeah. Good night.